a bill that would allow Alabama children who are failing school to get jobs without authorization from the school or their parents made it out of a Senate committee last week without Democratic opposition.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
Let's go ahead and get to last week in Southern labor. Here is what workers in the U.S. South and the American colonies were up to from February 16th to the 23rd. In new union campaigns, a supermajority of journalists at the San Antonio Express News are requesting voluntary recognition for their unionization with the San Antonio News Guild. The employer filed for a union election after a majority of the 17 workers at Packer Transport in Clinton, Tennessee, filed a petition to hold a union election with probably the Teamsters, since the employees are school bus drivers and the Teamsters have been on a roll organizing those types of workers, but the NLRB in this filing doesn't say. Workers likely pushed by their employer filed a petition to decertify the Washington-Baltimore News Guild, CWA Local 32035, as the union representing the 7 workers at the Daily Progress in Charlottesville, Virginia. 4 workers at the Cesar Chavez Foundation in Austin, Texas, filed a petition to hold a union election with Lone Star Labor Education. 6 workers at Wells Fargo in Apopka, Florida, filed for a union election with the Communication Workers of America, CWA. 3 workers at Marty Kinsella Collision Center in Florissant, Missouri, filed a petition to hold a union election with the International Association of Machinists and Aerospace Workers, IAMAW. Workers at 21 different Starbucks locations filed a petition to hold a union election in the largest single day for petition filings since the campaign kicked off a few years ago, including at the following locations in the South. 2 in Denton, Texas, although one of those was later withdrawn, Christiansburg, Virginia, Little Rock, Arkansas, and Sulphur, Louisiana. 13 workers at Louisiana Fair Housing Action Center in New Orleans, Louisiana, filed a petition to hold a union election with the United Auto Workers, UAW, Local 3230. 17 workers at Pro Solar Systems in Christiansted, Virgin Islands, filed a petition to hold a union election with the United Steelworkers, USW, Local 8526. The employer filed a petition to hold a union election after a majority of the 2 workers at TV Oil and Gas in Winfield, West Virginia, demonstrated support for unionization with USW Local 62804. The employer filed a petition to hold a union election after a majority of the 5 workers at Union Oil and Gas in Winfield, West Virginia, also demonstrated support for unionization with USW Local 62804. In campaign updates, ahead of its March shareholder meeting, the AFL-CIO's Strategic Organizing Center built a presentation for shareholders arguing that Starbucks' response to the union efforts have hurt shareholder value. They further argue in favor of replacing 3 board members with more worker-friendly candidates. As the union campaign at Delta rolls on, 145 members of Congress wrote a letter demanding neutrality from the company with the notable absence of any Georgia official. Georgia congressperson and member of the Congressional Labor Caucus, Hank Johnson, has said he is, quote, neutral on the campaign because he is friend of both Delta and the unions. Wow. Yeah. As the UAW is continuing their historic campaign to organize non-union Southern and electric car manufacturing workers, they announced a commitment to spend $40 million over the next 2 years on the campaign. The UAW also announced a new solidarity project to support organizing efforts and build solidarity with workers in Mexico. Hey, 5 seconds, just wanted to say that this is only possible because of our donors. If you want to see more of this, then consider donating yourself at tvlr.fm/donate. In election results, 2 workers at Consolidated Nuclear Security in Amarillo, Texas, withdrew their petition for a union election with the Metal Trades Council of Amarillo Local 306, an IAM and OPEIU affiliate. 47 workers at the Texas Tribune withdrew their petition to hold a union election after winning voluntary recognition of their unionization with the News Guild. 99 workers at Monongolia Emergency Medical Services in Morgantown, West Virginia, voted 49-23 in favor of unionization with the International Association of EMTs and Paramedics, IAEP, an SEIU affiliate. 4 workers at Lee County Electric Cooperative in North Fort Myers, Florida, voted 3-1 in favor of unionization with the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, IBEW Local 1933. 11 workers at Coquille Del Mar in Adjuntas, Puerto Rico, voted 6-5 in favor of unionization with the Coquille Del Mar Workers Union. 16 workers at West Virginia University Hospitals in Morgantown, West Virginia, voted 10-6 in favor of unionization with the Laborers International Union of North America, LIUNA, Local 814. In strikes and bargaining updates, a recent decision by the International Trade Commission to not impose tariffs on tin has some steelworkers members in West Virginia concerned about the future of their jobs after Cleveland Cliffs announced they would shutter a tin manufacturing plant in West Virginia indefinitely. USW Local 2911 President Mark Glyptis said he will be fighting to get solutions from D.C. for his 1,000 members that are affected. Housekeepers at the University of North Carolina are calling on the university to end paid parking for workers. Hundreds of ATU Local 689 workers are on strike against Fairfax Connector in Virginia. Management of WAMU, American University Radio, an NPR affiliate station, announced their intent to lay off 15 workers and News Guild members, as well as shut down the DCist, a newsletter run by the station. The president of the News Guild encouraged the general manager of the station to reverse course or resign. UAW Local 862 and Ford avoided a strike last week after Ford addressed the concerns of the workers at the Kentucky truck plant surrounding safety. The NBA's Washington Wizards and the NHL's Washington Capitals were proposing moves from D.C. to Northern Virginia, but are facing opposition from unions in Northern Virginia, with Virginia Diamond, Northern Virginia AFL-CIO president, saying, quote, "There's been no interest at all on the part of this developer to consider signing agreements that would protect the rights of workers." In politics and legislation, a bill that would allow 14 and 15-year-old Alabama children who are failing school to get jobs without authorization from the school or their parents made it out of a Senate committee last week without Democratic opposition. In West Virginia, a similar bill passed the House of Delegates. New legislation proposed in Florida to build on the anti-union bill that passed last year has made it out of a House committee. The bill could make it easier to decertify some public sector bargaining units while also granting more exemptions to others. A joint venture to build a battery manufacturing plant between Ford and South Korean manufacturer SK in Kentucky is facing struggles as workers report mold, sickness, and grueling hours. Tennessee Senate Democrats proposed and Tennessee Senate Republicans rejected legislation that would cap insulin at $35 a month, import drugs from Canada, provide medical debt relief for Tennesseans, and exclude medical bills from credit reports. Kentucky Teamsters are advocating against a state House bill that would legalize driverless trucks in Kentucky with little to no oversight. CWA is supporting legislation that would increase penalties for assaulting a utility worker in Georgia, and the Teamsters donated $45,000 to the Republican National Committee in January, days before Sean O'Brien's meeting with Trump. Newly public records have confirmed.
You just saw a clip from the Valley Labor Report. We are live every Saturday morning from 9:30 a.m. till 12:30 p.m. And we pride ourselves on keeping all of our content free to everybody so that we can talk to as many working folks as possible. If you support the work that we're doing, you think that it's important, you think that it's good, then consider making a monthly contribution to the project, and you can do that on our website, tvlr.fm.